Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you my review of WWE Wrestlemania today that came on the network. It came out on March 26, 2015. The only reason I'm saying that is because they're going to have it again tomorrow, which I will cover again tomorrow. Um, Now, I did like this show. Um, yes, it does kind of get boring to hear them talk about the matches constantly. Um, But if you're not one to hear all this stuff, then this isn't for you. Um, and To be honest with you, I really didn't mind it just because it's WrestleMania. Maybe because that's why I'm getting this is making me get pumped up for Mania. Um, and that's why I'm getting excited for the show. Um, They didn't show any matches or anything. They didn't even show the NXT tournament that they talked about. I don't think they're going to. I think that's just going to be a thing off the air. So, yeah, that's kind of how that is. But we get the panel, and we get Michael Cole, Booker T, and Corey Graves on the panel. Michael Cole, I don't know what was up with him, but he botched several times, and he did one big botch, and he spoiled something for me that happened on SmackDown. So I don't know what was up with Michael Cole tonight. And They play the video of when Brock Lesnar announced he's going back to the to the WWE. They play a video of Brock Lesnar's announcement that he's resigning with the WWE. We find out he has a multi-year million dollar contract or something like that. And He said the reason why he didn't go back to the UFC is because he's an entertainer, and he said that he's done in the UFC. And he says that he made this decision for the fans. I still kind of somewhat think that they had him didn't that he was that he already made his decision and they didn't have him re-sign until the week of Mania, because I just think it's kind of peculiar that he does it the day after the final Raw of WrestleMania. I just think that's just peculiar. Um, and then they play the video package for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar's match at WrestleMania, and they show I thought this was a great video package. It got me hyped up to see the match at WrestleMania. It shows Roman Reigns, and he talks about his family legacy, so it shows his whole family. The guy that was in the Wild Samoans, Yokozuna, Rikishi, and The Rock. It showed that when he had that dominating performance at Survivor Series in 2013. It showed when he broke Kane's record and got the most Royal Rumble eliminations at the Royal Rumble 2014. And then they showed when he won the 2014 Superstar of the Year. I somewhat think he kind of should have won that award, but I'm not really going to get into that. It showed when he won this year's Royal Rumble, and then for Brock Lesnar, it just shows him on a tear talking about how he took out The Rock and sent him right back to Hollywood. It shows him taking out Hulk Hogan. It shows him taking out breaking the Undertaker's undefeated streak from 21-1. It shows him destroying John Cena at SummerSlam and becoming the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It shows him destroying John Cena and Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble. And then they talk about that stuff, how Roman Reigns can't beat Brock Lesnar. It shows all that stuff. It showed that awful tug of war they had on Raw this Monday, and it just shows all that stuff. And I thought it really worked. I thought it was awesome stuff. And then it shows the Intercontinental Championship ladder match video package. And it shows everyone taking the title. I actually thought this was a great video package right here, just because it was funny and it was kind of cool. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was awesome stuff to see just the superstars taking the Intercontinental Championship. I've already talked about who's taking it, so then it shows Bad News Barrett, the Intercontinental Champion, and he's getting interviewed in the match, and he talks about how at WrestleMania he's gonna go in there and pretty much own everybody. He's going to retain the Intercontinental Championship, and he talks about how he could have called the police for people that were stealing his Intercontinental Championship, and saying how But he's not going to do that. He's going to take matters into his own hands. And Booker T asks him where he's going to go after this, like whether if he loses this match. And he talked about how he's injury prone. And Bad News Barrett said he does plan on becoming the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but he is not intending on losing this match. He's going to go in there and win the ladder match and retain his Intercontinental Championship. And then Michael Cole, and then they mentioned Daniel Bryan. Now he's going to win. And Bad News Barrett says that Daniel Bryan had a nice moment last year at WrestleMania, but this year it's going to be B&B's moment. I thought that was great. Michael Cole lists out the other superstars in this match, and I'm just going to say it. He says Dolph Ziggler's blonde. He says R-Truth is insane. He says Stardust is weird. Luke Harper is creepy or something like that. I forget what he said about Harper. Let me just silence my phone. I didn't even know that would go off. So then he says, Dean Ambrose is obviously the lunatic fringe. I thought that was cool. And then Michael Cole talks about this is where he botches big time. So he was talking about that ladder match they had at WrestleMania 10 with Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. But he accidentally botches. He said Shawn Michaels and Macho Man Randy Savage. And that was just terrible. I can't believe he botched that. And when he asked Barrett the question, I don't even remember what I think like what it's going to do for Barrett's career. I couldn't even focus on what Barrett said because Michael Cole botched so bad. But Booker T did catch him on that. And I thought that was awesome. So then, he said that Michael Cole even says that whoever wins this match, no matter who wins this match, everyone's going to be making a legacy in this match, making the WrestleMania moments, and possibly go into the Hall of Fame. And then that was it. I thought this was a great interview by Barrett. So then and then that shows a clip of Booker T interviewing Randy Orton to build up the match between Orton and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And I thought this was an awesome interview. So Randy Orton cuts off, and he said that when he was with the Authority, he didn't really want to be in the Authority. He thought Triple H was taking him in good places. He thought it was a good idea to join up with Triple H. It was getting him in the main events. But he said that him being in a group really didn't fit him. It wasn't like his thing to be in a group. He didn't really like being in a group. He talked about how him and Rollins were just Randy Orton's just in the background of Triple H while he was doing all the talking. And he said that Triple H did get him in the main event of WrestleMania when he defended the title. And yeah, he may have lost the match, but he doesn't look at it that way. He looks at it that he didn't really lose the match because Daniel Bryan made Batista tap out, which was a great point. And he said that he still didn't get his rematch for the title, which I thought was a great point as well. And he said that, and then they go to I believe it was November 13th, 2014, when the Authority took him out, which the Authority consists of Seth Rollins, J&J Security, Jamie Noble, and Joey Mercury. At the time, Big Show wasn't in it, but he's in it now. Corporate Kane. And Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And he talks about how he just finally had enough, so he just snapped. And he said Seth Rollins did catch him, but it was a moment he's never going to forget in his career. And then he said that when he returned at Fastlane, he originally didn't have in mind that he was going to get his hands. He was just going to he said that he had his mind immediately that he was just going to get his hands on Seth Rollins. So it shows that at Fastlane. And then it shows the night when Randy Orton joined back with the Authority. And he said that the reason he did this was he was referring to like him being a snake. How a snake always waits for the food, being the mouse. And that's what he was doing. He was biding his time. And then it shows that clip on March 16th, 2015. When Randy Orton pretty much said that to Seth Rollins. And he said that he's going to make Seth Rollins his bitch. And he said that he was just playing mind games at that point. And then it shows him beating the absolute crap out of Seth Rollins. And he talked about how that was the perfect moment to do that. It was after him and Rollins had that handicap match with Roman Reigns. And Seth Orton screws him over. And he said that at WrestleMania he's going to destroy Seth Rollins. And he talks about how Seth Rollins is good, but he hasn't really been in the he doesn't have the experience that I do. He hasn't been in the ring with all these Hall of Famers. I kind of thought that was a weird point because he's pretty much saying that everybody nowadays just sucks. I just thought that was kind of weird. But I get what he's saying. And then Booker T asks him like, if Seth Rollins beats him, will you be Seth Rollins be the future and you be the past? And Randy Orton says that you're gonna get all types of all the Randy Ortons combined. You're gonna get the Viper, you're gonna get the Legend Killer, and you're gonna get the Apex Predator. Something I also thought was cool, I'm going to mention, is it shows Randy Orton from 2004 when he was young, and he's exactly like Seth Rollins. I thought that was cool, because he talked about how Seth Rollins is called the Future, and that's what Randy Orton was called back then. I thought that was absolutely awesome. So then we get he said, but yeah, about the other questions, Randy Orton says that if Seth Rollins beats him, he will prove to be the future. But as long as Randy Orton's still here, he is always going to be considered the future. And that was the end of the interview. I actually thought it was a very well put together interview. I really enjoyed it. So then it shows a video package of John Cena of when he was going up against the Big Show for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20. And Randy Orton, John Cena, it's like a little video package. Paul Heyman talks about how it was the perfect moment to do that, and the opening show, and have John Cena have that moment, beating Big Show for the U.S. title. And John Cena says when he did that, lifted the Big Show's over his shoulder and won, that it's going to be a moment he never forgets. And then it plays the video package of Rusev and Cena in their feud for the U.S. title. It was just kind of the same basic stuff that I've been seeing for the past couple of weeks. So I'm not really going to go into detail because I've already talked about it. If you want to just check out my videos on this channel about it. And then Ric Flair gets interviewed, and he pretty much is talking about the match with Triple H and Sting. That's what he's there to put over. Because obviously I don't think Sting's going to show up, or Triple H is going to show up to this. Because Sting, I think they want to keep him quiet, and Triple H, I think, was doing other things. And Ric Flair even says that he's that he loves being here. And he said that him and Sting are like this. When they were in WCW, they really clicked. And when Ric Flair came into the WWE in 1992, he wanted Sting to come in with him, just so he can make his name for himself. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But he didn't. And he kind of takes a shot at TNA here a little bit. Because when he says because they asked, like, why did Sting choose to come here now of all times? Why didn't he come here a while ago? Ric Flair says that this is the big leagues. This is where the real Hall of Fame is. And even says that you were in the other Hall of Fame, but this is where the real Hall of Fame is. Because Sting is in the TNA Hall of Fame. I mean, he's going to be down in record for that. I don't even know if he still has his Hall of Fame win. I don't even know if they gave him one. But, yeah, he pretty much says this is the real Hall of Fame. Like, I think he tried to cover it up by saying, like, he went to the NFL Hall of Fame before and the NBA, but, and says that this is the real Hall of Fame, though. This is how it's really like, but it totally felt like he was pretty much making fun of the TNA Hall of Fame. It just totally feels like it was that way. Maybe it's just me, though. So then, he talks about how, Triple H, and he talks about how he's never been seen him this focused. He's been friends with him for so long, and he says, and he tries to kind of hold his words a little bit, obviously, because of what happened with, when Triple H shoved him when they had that segment. And then Michael Cole says, and he even talks about too how Triple H hasn't been in the ring for so long, and he said that time in the ring, away from the ring, hurts you. So I thought that was cool. And then Michael Cole brings up this point. Triple H, Sting hasn't been in the ring for nearly 14 years. And then Ric Flair says, well, Sting's been in the ring once a week somewhere else. And me and Booker T have been there. I thought that was awesome because that's pretty much referencing that he worked for TNA. So at least they didn't. At least they said that without actually saying it. I really liked this. But Ric Flair picks Triple H to win because he's lost to The Undertaker twice and he's lost to Daniel Bryan last year. He does not see Triple H going down this year. I thought that was cool. And he even says him and Sting all like this, but he's picking Triple H. I thought that was cool. And then the Miz and Damien Mizdow get interviewed. We find out now that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is now going to be the kickoff, also on the kickoff at WrestleMania 31. I really don't have a problem with this. I would have had a problem with it last year because then it would have meant nothing. I really don't have a problem with it for a couple reasons. One, it will because I've actually had trouble dreading these pre-shows lately because it's just so long. I don't mind when they do these panel things usually, but they just do it for so long that it just drags out sometimes. And it's just the same thing over and over again. But so this will help fill up a couple matches on the card. And I have a feeling that if it was on the show, it would be a big cluster. It would be way too fast, all things going on at once. So I'm happy about that. And I'm also happy about it, and I don't really mind it either because they're not really building it up this year. It just kind of feels like it's just kind of randomly thrown on the show. So I'm really not going to complain about the fact that the Andre the Giant's just on the pre-show because they really haven't been building it up that much. It's just kind of there to me. So, yeah, I'm happy about the fact that they'll, I don't really care. Well, I'm not happy. I just don't really care the fact that they're putting it on the kickoff or the pre-show. But the Miz and Damien Mizdow get interviewed, and before they can really say anything at first, Curtis Axel comes up, and he pretty much just says Axelmania all along, talks about how he's going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal when he tears his t-shirt off Hulk Hogan style. I thought this was awesome stuff. It still kind of doesn't make any sense that he's doing the Axelmania stuff when he had that big face-off with Hulk Hogan. That should have been saved for the night after WrestleMania, but I can't really complain about that. It's getting him a push at least. So then they play that commercial that the Miz had when he was doing the Niagara Falls stuff or whatever it's called. Niagara, that's what it's called. And they were making fun of him about it, pretty much. And the Miz then they get serious, and he says that he's gonna win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, because that's the only thing he hasn't done. And he says that when it comes down to him and Mizdow, Mizdow is gonna help him eliminate everybody, and then Mizdow is gonna eliminate himself to help Miz win. And he says that if Mizdow doesn't do that, he's gonna be fired and he's gonna be off TV and he's not gonna be wrestling forever. Then he brings up a good point, like, look, Alex Riley did the same thing, and now he's back on NXT, and he's got nowhere from it. So that's actually a good point. Like, I thought that was a good point. So that was kind of all they really did. But I actually liked this segment because it's building this tension between Miz and Mizdow. That should have happened this year at Mania anyways, but I'm not really going to complain about that anymore. So then they show the WrestleMania 25 video package with Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. And Dolph Ziggler talked about how it was a match everybody wanted to see. The Streak versus Mr. WrestleMania. And Jerry the King Lawler says once the match was over, it was an instant classic. That's kind of the gist of it. And then they show the Bray Wyatt Undertaker feud, and they give their predictions about that for a little bit. And then Seth Rollins interviews Booker. I was gonna say Seth Rollins interviews Booker T, but Booker T interviews Seth Rollins, and Booker T immediately asks him about going into about what happened with Randy Orton, how he outsmarted him, and he asked that if he just outsmarted you, or if you were just being stupid, or if you thought you were untouchable. And Seth Rollins says it was a little bit of both, and he said he was embarrassed about it, and he said that he's smart. He should have been able to see this coming all along. And then he asks him, like, are you willing to go into WrestleMania this year facing Randy Orton? After Randy Orton's fought all these names at WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins says something really good, like, well, me and Randy Orton fought before, because remember, if you don't remember, Seth Rollins, when he was in the Shield, which the Shield consists of Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns, he says, we went against Randy Orton and his tag team partners, and his tag team partners at the time was Sheamus and Big Show. And we beat Randy Orton then. So I'm not really that concerned. I thought that was a great point. I'm glad he brought that up because I didn't think they were going to. And then he talks about how since Randy Orton's like the cold apex predator, can Seth Rollins match up with him? But Seth Rollins says, well, look what I did. I betrayed my own Shield brothers by sticking a chair into their backs. I did all that stuff in the Money in the Bank ladder match to get the Money in the Bank contract. And I curve stomped Dean Ambrose's head through cinder blocks. I thought that was awesome stuff. And then Booker T asked him a question, like, do you feel like everything's been handed to you since you're friends with Triple H and the Authority and all that? And Seth Rollins says that he takes offense to that because he's worked from the bottom day in and day out. And he says that he fights just like everybody else does, maybe more. And he says that he feels like he deserves everything he's gotten. And he says that he's always going to want more. In 2015, he's going to be extra hungry this year. And I just thought it was awesome stuff. I really thought it was amazing. And, yeah, I thought it was good stuff. And then Paige gets interviewed for the Divas tag match with AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie. I didn't really like this interview for some reason. It felt like, I don't know, it just kind of felt off. I think Paige just can't really talk really well. I don't really know. They just kind of were off topic a lot. They didn't really stay on topic, I guess. So, I don't know. They just pretty much say that her and AJ Lee are going to get along. They talk about how AJ Lee's different than all types of divas. They're the geeky, squirky kind of divas. And then they talk about, yeah, that's really it. I don't know. So then it shows Jonathan Coachman. He's on ESPN now, but he actually used to be in the WWE. And he interviews Brock Lesnar, talking more about Brock Lesnar staying with the WWE. And he says he's like being paid what he's doing right now, just working part-time and coming in when he's needed. And then it shows that video package of Brock Lesnar again, talking about how he's going to destroy Roman Reigns at Mania. But I've seen it before, but it's so good I decided to write it down. And I thought it was going to be a different one too. So that was the WrestleMania Today show. Like I said, it's not like, if you don't like this stuff, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. I didn't mind it because it is hyping me up to see Mania. And I did like the interviews with Rollins and Orton. I liked the Ric Flair one. The only one I really didn't like was the Miz and Mizdow ones was awesome. The only one I didn't like was Paige. I don't really know what it is. Like, Paige can go in there and wrestle, but I just don't know. They just, I think it was because they would switch topics a lot. That was like, they didn't stay on topic with that, so that might have been it. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'll be back tomorrow to give you another one of these. And if you want to see more WrestleMania videos, you can go on the playlist on this channel. When you click right here to subscribe, because I have a lot of WrestleMania videos on this channel. That's pretty much it, guys. See you later. Can't wait for Mania.